Black farmers are tired of waiting for their part of the $4 billion debt relief program. Now they are taking the federal government to court in a class action lawsuit. The plaintiffs say the government went back on its word to black and other minority farmers when the relief program after white farmers complained and filed a lawsuit. Today, Attorney Ben Crump announced he was filing this national lawsuit on behalf of the National Black Farmers Association. They have been greatly impacted by racism when it comes to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They've been fighting for a very long time, and then finally, when the money was allocated by Congress, they thought finally some relief. Well, then you had white farmers led by that racist Stephen Miller, who worked for Donald Trump. They filed a lawsuit claiming reverse racism, that this was grossly unfair, even though under Donald Trump, some $25 billion went out to farmers, and black farmers barely got any of that money. Joining us now is John Boyd. He is the president of the National Black Farmers Association. John, I'm glad to have you on the show. This is what the USDA announced. They released a statement. They said the USDA strongly supported the ARPA Section 1005 program and was ready to make payments to direct loan borrowers. However, the $5 billion that was intended to help farmers was frozen by 3 nationwide injunctions that prevented USDA from getting payments out the door. The government vigorously defended this program in the courts, but because of these injunctions, the $5 billion provided in ARPA remained frozen. This litigation would likely have not been resolved for years. Your response to that?
Well, I don't think the administration moved quickly enough to get the money out in the first place. So they had enough time to get the actual debt relief to black farmers, but instead they drug their feet and allowed white farmers not just to file one suit. They filed 12 different lawsuits in very conservative courts, and they picked conservative judges to file these complaints in. Mm-hmm. So while my dad said the grass is growing, the cows are starving. So we still didn't get the money. Mm-hmm. And then the administration came out and repealed it and replaced the language.
Now, when you say repealed it, what does that mean?
They repealed the $5 billion in debt relief. Well, $4 billion in debt relief, and there was $1 billion for discrimination. We're going to talk about that too. But they actually repealed it and replaced it with language that says farmers who have been distressed. So now we have to compete with white farmers in this actual pool of money too, Roland. So instead of the money's going to the 14,000 black and other farmers of color. And I want to remind you, those 14,000 are actual farmers. Those are the persons who actually own land, which is why I was fighting so very, very hard for debt relief. And white farmers said, well, you know, it's unconstitutional. It's some new loan program that has excluded white farmers. It's anything further from the truth. Debt relief, I was on your show in 2009. Saying how we didn't get injunctive relief in 2 forms. Land and inventory. The government had 1.5 million acres of land that came from black farmers, and we were supposed to get the land back. I didn't get my land back through my settlement, and none of the other black farmers got it. And the second part of that injunctive relief was the actual debt relief. So white farmers was getting debt relief the whole time with ease in this country, while black farmers were getting farm foreclosure notices like we're getting today since the language has been repealed, Roland.
So here you have the Biden administration saying, look, we tried to do all that we could. And your deal is like, no, you could have done more.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so now, in essence, y'all are in limbo. Y'all are stuck. At the end of the day, you're frozen. You can't get the money. People are still dealing with the issues, dealing with COVID. And it's sort of like you got to wait till this thing is resolved in the courts, which could take years. And
they said that's why they repealed it. But also, what the repeal did is open Pandora's box. So now the administration, USDA, started foreclosing on black farmers. And that's why I was asking the leadership. Senator Chuck Schumer had a meeting with him about a week or so ago, Clyburn and other leaders, Democratic leaders, to put a real farm moratorium in place while the administration try to figure out what the sand world they're doing. We should not still be losing our land because the administration drug its feet. And Roland, you also covered when they said they were sending former Secretary Vilsack back to USDA. As you know, I wanted Marcia Fudge, and I think I would have had far more better results with former Congresswoman Marcia Fudge than we're getting with Secretary Vilsack. Vilsack is a very skilled politician where he says just enough to get by as far as it goes for black farmers. But I don't believe that his heart is in the right place in resolving this. So here we got 14,000 farmers of color, no debt relief, and we traded 120%, 120% debt relief. So you get 100% write down, 20% to pay their taxes and so on and so forth. We exchanged that language to appease white farmers to say farmers are distressed farmers, which are now white farmers.
Which is race-neutral language.
Race-neutral language.
As opposed to, and again, when Trump with his export, whatever the hell he was doing against China, I mean, again, they sent $25 billion to that mostly went to white farmers.
Absolutely.
during the 4 years he was there.
It all went to white farmers.
These folks here now tripping about this $4 billion that's going to black and minority farmers.
Well, you know, and that's the case here. And what the listener audience needs to understand is 1.9 trillion acres of land in this country. Black farmers own 20 million acres of land. Why do you have to have all of our land out of 1.9 trillion acres of land in this country? Why do you need every single acre that came from black farmers in this country? And they're still trying to take our land. So for the people that don't understand what the fight is about, the fight is about saving historical land that came from slave families, sharecropping families who were able to buy land after the Civil War. We don't want to lose another foot, another acre, for some nonsense.
And I'm trying to actually find it. That was a graph somebody had put out that showed the amount of land that black farmers have lost over the years.
From the Virginia Delmarva line all the way down Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana. That's where you're going to find black farmers in this country, in the Deep South. Wherever there was a footprint of slavery and sharecropping, that's where you're going to find black farmers. And that's what the whole fight is about. And that's why I was pushing President Biden to put a real farm moratorium in place that would include guaranteed loans through these banks who got bailed out and they still want to take our farms, direct loans, and other agricultural lending institutions such as Farm Credit should not be selling our farms while we're trying to figure what the same world the administration is doing.
Questions from the panel. Scott, I'll start with you.
Yeah, good evening. The issue with the legislation was that it was race-based versus race-neutral. And you had these legal injunctions. And so you've got a lot of legal hurdles to come over. And I presume you're not a lawyer, but from a legal strategy point, are you suing for all the past ills of black farmers? Or are you suing to get your $4 billion that was promised, but then later repealed?
What was this question, Roland?
Are you suing for in totality, or are you suing trying to get the $4 billion?
We're suing to get debt relief for all 14,000 farmers of color. That's the first thing. The lawsuit entails two parts. And first of all, I would like to recognize Ben Crump for coming to the rescue for black farmers and taking this case on when many others didn't have the guts and tenacity to do so. He stuck his name on that complaint. The second part of that is the piece for farmers who have been discriminated against. That piece, Roland, was not tied up in federal court, yet and still Vilsack didn't settle one case for farmers who have been discriminated against. So now they want me to believe all of a sudden he's going to put this measure in place for me. It's like the fox watching the hen house. I'm going to trust the very agency that discriminated against black farmers to all of a sudden, we're going to fix this for you, John, right now. Just bear along with us. That's the message that I'm getting from the administration. So the lawsuit entails those two. Mr. Bonner, who was out there today, they've garnished his Social Security check. They're trying to foreclose on his farm. Man's 80 years old. His wife died a couple of years ago. Why are you trying to take this man's farm when he was supposed to get 120% debt relief from the United States government?
Wow. Cleo.
My first question is, how long has Mr. Crump been with you?
Well, he just announced the suit today.
All right. So I've been trying to follow this. Since you started bringing this to the public's eye, into the government's eye, has there been any level of progress? And what is the perfect answer to what you're requesting?
I would say there's been many hurdles that we've overcome. We had two settlements over the past 30 years, and this is a almost 4-decade-old fight now. And a lot of this issues has been followed by this man here sitting to my left. He's highlighted this issue time and time again. I fight with PepsiCo. I fight with all of these big companies. This is not a new issue to this show. He's been covering this show the whole time. So you have to keep in mind that this isn't a new issue. Ben Crump worked with us on another issue with the agriculture company some years back, and he stepped up to the plate. The real fix would be, one, the administration stop farm foreclosures, a full across-the-board moratorium, and honor its commitment to the broken promise of paying all of the black farmers debt relief, 120%. This is a broken promise. The black farmers signed the contracts, everyone signed them and sent them back in, thinking that they were going to get 120%. They made other financial obligations based on the 120% letter that we got from USDA, and then they repealed it. And they repealed it and then say, well, you know, boy, we don't want you to say anything about this. Just bite the bullet and look the other way. I can't do that to people like John Bonner, who is out on that mall today. And we bought our mule here today, Roland.
Yep.
My old mules are dead. I've been fighting this so long, struggling 40 acres. They dead. I got a new mule. His name is Jesus. A new white mule.
Y'all show the mule. Show the video.
And I brought him up on the mall today.
Name Jesus.
Yes.
Okay.
Jesus is the mule's name. And I figure, you know what?
Right.
We got to have Jesus if we want to overcome the struggle of our forefathers. This fight is about our forefathers. Many generations, Roland, that me and you and others leaders in this country, we're standing on their shoulders.
Yep.
And we can't let them down by losing all of our land. If we lose all of our land, people, we've lost all of our history, all of our knowledge, all of our well-being, all of our family structure came from the farm. And for these proud black people, guess what? You're only 2 or 3 generations away from somebody's farm. You may not want to admit it.
Right.
They may say, oh, I ain't never going back to the farm. Don't run away from the land. Land is power.
Right.
Food is power. Guess what? We're facing a food shortage.
Yep.
If you know a black farmer, you need to be his friend today and go out and buy his produce.
Nola.
Well, thank you, first of all, so much for this fight, this continued fight. As a very proud Southerner and going to Shibuya, Mississippi every single summer on my family's farm, I really do appreciate the organic everything, the lifestyle, and just the rich culture and history that exists on Black farms. So my question is for you. What can we do? How can we help with messaging? Because I feel like, Roland is out here doing the Lord's work, Lord knows, and he's out here fighting these battles. But this isn't a fight that I see, on Black social media all the time. This isn't something that I see in the Black blogs. What can we do to help with messaging?
The first thing you can do is when Roland puts this link out about what happened with black farmers tonight, that link should go to everyone in your social media contact, Facebook, Instagram. Share his link, because do you know what a white lady said to me at Virginia Tech? She said, Mr. Boyd, I didn't know that there was such a thing as black farmers. Here's a young lady who specializes in majoring in agriculture that don't know the history of why we were in America in the first place. We were here as slaves and then sharecroppers and survived Jim Crow to work the field and become farmers right here on American soil. So the best thing you can do is to share that information, share this segment, and spread it around. Everybody should have this segment in their inbox today on somebody's social media.
Well, that's the thing that, I get a kick out of these folks. Oh man, you ain't sitting here fighting for black folks. Somebody actually sent me something saying, why haven't you been discussing the plight of the black farmers? And I'm like, yes. Fool, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. This thing go back to Washington Watch, the first show I had in 2009. Yes. And see, and the problem that I have, this is the big problem that I have. And I've had people tell me, well, there's a lot of things happening in Black America. But the reality is, when I said, why haven't civil rights groups and other groups had a mass demonstration in Tennessee to get the $500 million for Tennessee State? The reality is, y'all have been doing this And our large civil rights groups and other groups have not brought their folks out. And what I keep saying to people is and the reason we played that "Where's Our Money" stinger before, this is about land, it's about money and power. And what happens is, what we do is we turn out in mass numbers for police shootings.
We sure do.
We turn out in mass numbers for criminal justice, which I totally understand.
Yes.
We turn out in mass numbers what's happening in Los Angeles.
Yes.
This right here, this is a money issue.
Yes.
And I keep saying, if you ain't discussing the money, you're not having an American conversation.
You missed the
And
boat.
so the battle has been trying to get black folks to understand this issue, and this is not, I'm having a slavery flashback. No, it literally is, as Chuck D always says, they ain't making no more land.
They ain't making another foot of land. You know, they're making raggedy cars every day. And, you know, my grandfather always said, you know, you can't leave your PhD and all of these things. It's not transferable to your children. But he could leave his poor old raggedy farm to his 12 children. And that's exactly what he did.
When you own a house, you also own the land,
You own the land
the house on. It's the exact same
It's
thing.
the same thing. And the most powerful tool that you can possess, people, is land ownership. Don't be confused by this other stuff. This building that we're in, is sitting on somebody's land.
Yeah.
Everybody that's watching, you're sitting on somebody's land. You can either own your own or be trespassing on somebody else's.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm just going to use an example. It wasn't land, but the example I'm about to use goes to just, unfortunately, how some of our folk think. I was speaking at a Chamber of Commerce event, a Black Chamber of Commerce event in Houston, and they had a live auction.
Yeah.
And they had a diamond pendant that was in the live auction. And the diamond pendant, I think, sold for about $900.
Yes.
Then they had a tailored suit. The tailored suit sold for $1,500. And I was sitting at the table, and I said, "That's a damn shame." And somebody said, why you saying it's a damn shame? You know, that's $900 and $1,500. That's $2,400 for the organization. I said, you do know you can sell that diamond pendant
That's right.
to somebody else. You can't sell no damn tailored suit.
So that's right.
Because it's tailored just for you.
Tailored just for you.
And they looked at me and they were like, damn, I ain't never thought about it that way. I said, think about how you spend money.
That's right.
And so the point is, what is actually an asset or just what's on your ass? It's a difference.
Or two hands are scratching. But and Roland, I want to take people back to 2009 because that's exactly when we were trying to get the settlement finalized with President.
If people know Pickford.
Yes, the former President Barack Obama. I called you and I told you, I said, Roland, this thing failed 9 times in the Senate. And you said, could you get there? And I said, yes. You asked me, what legislators are giving you problems, board? I gave you the names, and your listening audience started blowing their phones up. That's the power of what you do from where you're sitting. And that's the difference that you made in those black farmers' lives. 22,000 black farmers received $12,000 for taxes and $50,000 for a settlement. Yes, a lot of them didn't get it. They should have got it. But 20,000, 20+ thousand, yes, got $1 billion in this country. And guess what? I think I would have been stuck in the Senate if you hadn't raised the voice and the black conscience of people watching. That's the power of unity and having a voice like you that can come in and say, this is what's going on right now.
Well, keep us abreast of and what you need our folks to do, because it's absolutely taking our audience and pushing them to call, pushing them to write, pushing them to email, pushing them to tweet. Is there a particular hashtag y'all are using? Not
a particular hashtag, but I would like the listeners to support the lawsuit. If you have an organization, file a petition in federal court and support our lawsuit. That's something that black organizations can do. I know Ben Chavis was out there from the Black Press. He said he was going to support it. We need people that are head of these organizations to file a petition in federal court and support it. Go to nationalblackfarmersassociation.org and support our organization. Everybody should be a member. Everybody eats, don't they? People just think farming and, I don't have any relationship to farmers. Mm-hmm. You just ate dinner somewhere. It's about 7 o'clock somewhere in America, and a whole lot of people just ate dinner. So Support us. That's what we need right now.
So what I'm gonna do is I got a group. I got them on chat group with about 18 civil rights groups,
Yes.
and definitely hit them up with that. Folks, this is John's Twitter feed. Y'all should be following him. Right here is J.W. Boyd, NBFA. That way you can get details as things are happening with what's going on. As you see, he follows me. I follow him, and so we need to do that because. I just keep telling y'all, this is about money. It's about money. It's about power. We're talking about $4 billion. You heard him say in the Pickford, that was $1 billion. Yes. People running around hollering about reparations and what we need, but you're waiting for somebody to vote on that. This was $1 billion black farmers actually got.
Yes.
$1 billion. This is $4 billion they're trying to get access to right now. And so, and I said something, people got mad at me a few weeks ago. I put up something about Nick Cannon and Eddie Murphy having 10 kids. And I had about probably 700 or 900 comments on my Instagram page.
Wow.
Yet, when I post something talking about us trying to access the $322 billion spent every year in the advertising industry, it might have 8 to 10 comments. And I said, now wait a minute, which one has a greater impact on black people?
That's right.
The $322 billion or Nick Cannon having 10 kids?
And and that's right. And I would like to challenge some of our significant African-American leaders to get behind us. We have NBA stars, we have boxing stars, we have football stars. Go to Roland's link tonight and tweet and comment about this, man. That's the first thing that these leaders can do. Just don't share that nonsense.
When they see the views, when they see that link gets 2 and 3 and 4 and 500,000 links, then they understand, okay, hold up, folks paying attention. And see, people understand, they watch that stuff. But when they see it gets 1,200 or 1,500, they go, oh man, we can go ahead and ignore them.
Yes, that's correct. So.
In fact, I had just show the last point here, that was a particular company we went after. And they called a black ad agency. They said, hey, can you get us the impressions on his comments on social media? And so the ad agency called me and they said, Roland, can you send me the numbers? And when I sent them the numbers of the traction we got on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, on Fanbase, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, and they saw the views, they were like, oh yeah, we need to have this meeting with him. But they looked at the metrics. They saw the impact of what the video did. And that's why, and trust me, politicians, they understand that. So when they start getting those phone calls, and that's what changed that. And so we got to keep doing that because this is about money and money and power. Well, John, we certainly appreciate it, man. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you,
you keep giving them hell. You know I'm right here. I know. And we'll support you on everything you do.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it, Doc. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?